Council meeting of July 7th, 2020 is called to order. Please stand for the pledge and Megan lead us.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of
of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Megan.
I can't wait till we can do that in person. I think it's much better when we do it in person.
Yeah, we're so out of sync.
Yeah, we're much more in sync in person.
Yeah.
Okay, Donna, how about a roll call?
Okay, I'm ready. Councilmember Feast,
Present.
Councilmember Inesco,
Here.
Councilmember Bode,
Here.
Mayor Dorsey,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Peterson,
Here.
Councilmember McDowell. She is not here. Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
Thank you.
As we move on, Joe has a little presentation for us.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to address. I just wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about the coronavirus and the little logo next to me here about wearing a mask and the recent changes and mandates that have come down at a statewide level. As you know, my wife works in healthcare, and we talk about this topic pretty regularly in my household. And over the course of the last several months, we've all learned a ton about the coronavirus, the negatives and the ways to sort of thwart this moving forward. And what I wanted to kind of talk really quickly about was really the importance of wearing a mask in the community. Essentially, wearing a mask stops the spread of the coronavirus at the source. The virus has moved so rapidly throughout the world because it can be spread by pre-symptomatic or asymptomatic people. This means people have been spreading the virus to others before knowing that they were even infected themselves. This is different from other novel viruses we've encountered before. The first SARS virus, the MERS virus, even the flu does not spread as easily by people without symptoms. People can spread this virus to others just by speaking. We've been to the stores and places within the community, and what do you see at the cash register, right? You see the plexiglass between you and the cashier. At the front desk at City Hall, the same situation. Those are things that work. The purpose of the mask is to capture the small respiratory droplets that harbor the virus before they can reach the air, where they can linger until someone else breathes them in and becomes infected. When you see someone wearing the cloth mask, they're not wearing it to protect themselves. We're wearing it to protect others, and we're exercising compassion for others when we're doing that. So far in Mason County and in Shelton, the spread of the virus has been manageable, to say the least. Our goal should be able to keep it that way, to keep the spread at a low level. Shelton and Mason County, we have, as we know, we have a large population of highly vulnerable people over the age of 60, those with chronic health issues, and they're at much greater risk of complications. Even healthy young people we've seen have struggled with lasting health issues after infection. Not wearing a mask is gambling with someone else's life and well-being. It's if that's not convincing enough, we've all been aware of the economic impacts related to coronavirus. Shelton, the state, the United States, the country, we have suffered a substantial economic blow from the unencumbered spread of this virus. Many local businesses and employers have had to make hard decisions. We cannot afford further economic pain. We really can't. If we do not control the spread of the virus today by simply wearing a mask, we may be faced with more drastic measures that will further impact our lives. We're a strong community. We can do this. Let's show some grace and compassion for each other. I sincerely appreciate our community leaders, members of the council, the county commissioners, businesses, residents, and our visitors for taking this message to heart. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Joe. All right. And let's remember too, that along with wearing the mask, washing the hands and not touching your face. That is the key thing that spreads this disease. I know I struggle with it down at the shop all the time. And when the rules change from one day to another, seems like sometimes, and customers get upset, you know, it's like, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep businesses open? Or you want to keep churches open? Do you want to keep what, you know, be responsible. That's what I think about it. Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have any late changes to the agenda? Hearing none. All right. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as published?
So moved.
Second.
All right. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. So at this point right here, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and members of the public who may be watching. Director Mark Ziegler is going to give a presentation on some of the code updates that we would like to pursue, or that we think would help improve our community and our economic vitality going into the future. I did want to make a point. There are a ton of code updates in there, but I did want to make the point very clearly that these are items that we are interested in pursuing and interested in looking at, but this is by no means the final step in this process. This is actually the first step of a very long process. We will develop solutions to each of the code items that are listed and share those solutions with community stakeholder groups, with other interested parties, and of course with the council when it comes to council meetings. But this is an incredibly long process, probably taking upwards of a year to complete the entire thing. The purpose of this tonight is to get the conversation started, to let the community know that we are looking at these code provisions to adopt some things that will make our community run more efficiently and provide high quality of life for the people that live here in Shelton. So with that, we will develop solutions collaboratively and something that best fits our community and our community's character. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Mark. He can run through the items that we are considering looking at, and the purpose really tonight is to let the council know what we're looking at, and if there's something that perhaps we forgot that you would like us to take a look at, we can add, or if there's something on the list that you don't think we should take a look at, you can let us know, and we can concentrate on things that are more relevant to the council's desires and the community's needs. So with that, Mark.
Thanks, Jeff, Mayor, council members. As you'll see in the staff report, our Shelton Municipal Code is the rules and regulations that are adopted by the city council that staff implements. This is a wholesale undertaking of the entire code, so every department is affected by this. You'll see bullet points throughout the staff report from each department. It's fairly comprehensive as it is now, but we anticipate that this will become even more comprehensive as we move forward, as we garner more public feedback, as we engage more staff members, as we hear more feedback from you, the council, as well. So I'll kind of do a brief, I guess, update as we move through here, hit some high points. We have other staff members, department heads available if you have any questions or comments, and we certainly will be open after this to receive any more comments or information that you might have after you digest this a little more. So as you look through the staff report, you'll see that we're addressing within the police department, unattached trailers, abandoned vehicles, and a lot of these codes might be updates from many years ago. They haven't been addressed. Maybe they haven't come to light before now, or federal or state laws have changed as well. And so we're updating those to reflect some of those standards. You'll see that within community development with the building code. We'll see the 2018 building code that actually the State Code Council just pushed back to early 2021 for adoption. So that'll be coming down the pike in 2021. Permit review and processing. Our code isn't really robust in that department, so we really want to clarify, give our developers a clear path forward, how we process permits, how each type of permit is followed through in the process here at the city, and so it's clear and understandable what they can expect in the processing of those. Short plats, duplexes, design standards, accessory dwelling units, a lot of things that affect affordable housing in this community, infill, landscaping and screening, things that we hear from our community that they would like to see now and in the future, and how they want the community to expand, and as it expands, how they want it to look, and what the feel of this community is going to be. New sections that we don't have now that identify a dark skies code, reduces glare on neighboring properties, heritage and landmark areas, trees, areas of the community that might fall under that, cottage and carriage houses, really expanding upon the types of housing that can be constructed in the city of Shelton and would be available. There's a number of areas within administrative services, updates to code language within finance, adding capital resources fund, administrative department, definitions. Those are cleanup things that haven't been addressed in the past, so we want to undertake now. Within the clerk's office, you'll see that study sessions held at 5 p.m. within the code. That's outlined in our code, and we want to update that, obviously, so we're as consistent as possible. And then you have a couple pages within the Public Works Department addressing design standards, sidewalk specifications, sidewalk construction, fringe improvements, stormwater, sewer, water. All of our utilities have areas that can be updated and edited for the betterment of the entire community, as well as reclaimed water, as we see more use out of the satellite treatment plant and more opportunities to utilize reclaimed water out there as it's produced. And as Jeff mentioned, this is the first step it's bringing to you tonight. We will further edit this document as we move forward. These will be ordinances that we brought in front of the council. You'll see red line versions, so you can see changes and edits if they're a existing document that has been changed, or a whole new ordinance written that would provide a new section of the code if that's warranted at that time. So we're going to reach out to our stakeholders and our community, give them the opportunity to comment all the way through this process. This is really something that is not done here in the Civic Center, but it's done out in the community. It's engaging. We want their feedback. We need their feedback, and we really look forward to their feedback throughout all of our stakeholders and the general public alike. So at this time, if you have any questions, we're happy to answer those or provide comment, take notes, and make sure that we add those to future updates.
Any
Just,
questions from anyone?
I thought I was done for a second.
just a quick comment. Something that Jeff had shared with us in our briefings, and I assume all the rest of the council members as well, but it was actually something to think about when we were talking about the code revisions, is that some of the code, as Mark had mentioned, cleanup or housekeeping type tasks, some of the code that we have to adopt is not something that necessarily we have full flexibility to change, alter, or eliminate, for example. So some things we have to kind of abide by as state or federal law as part of this effort as well. And then also the encouraging part of this is hopefully when we're completed with this process, navigating municipal code won't be as arduous and daunting of a task for the lay person. So I look forward to getting to work on this.
Mhm.
So that's one of the primary goals of this code rewrite. And I'm not, to be honest, reading municipal code and reading ordinances is never easy, even for people that do it all the time, like the leadership team here at the city does. But we do want to make it as easy as possible so people know what the expectations are going in, and what we're looking for as a community. So there's no ambiguity. There's no it reduces the amount of arguments, and we look forward to working with the community and with the council as we move forward to adopt these specific codes that hopefully make sense to most everybody.
And I would presume that as we get a little further down the line, any code that is being changed or implemented, we would have discussions about the financial implications for the residents on the other end of that as we're moving forward. You guys have been great about that so far, but I'm sure that's something we'll get questions on, especially as we talk about ownership and maintenance and some of those other items. Outside of that, I'm really pleased to see the emphasis on flexibility in different types of housing. And I think that there will be some long discussion about some of, international building code and what we can do to make viable economic development, particularly in our historic areas. So I'm looking forward to getting some information from staff on that as we start to work through that process.
Absolutely. The financial impact, whether positive or negative, will be assessed as part of each code update. And we're going to be bringing this to you in chunks. Like I said, this is a very long process. It will take several meetings worth of council's time. We anticipate several work sessions on this, open houses with the community so we can receive their feedback, as Mark mentioned. And I think it's a great point. The work is actually done outside the Civic Center. So we want to get out to where our residents are and talk to them about what we're trying to achieve and then what their concerns are. And I'm fond of saying that, we don't have all the answers. We can't. And so we're always open to good ideas from those that are outside the Civic Center that we can implement. There's no head in cement syndrome here. So we'll be looking forward to those conversations with the community and then implementing a code that works for everybody and achieves the goals that the council has set forward in their strategic goals.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. All right, this time here, we're going to recess from our regular meeting and open a public hearing about single room occupancy. And Community Development Director Mark Ziegler has some details for us.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. As you'll remember, the city entered into a contract agreement or lease agreement with Panza. This encompassed about exactly 3.233 acres located on the north side of town at Shelton Springs and North 13th Street for the development of a housing program and ancillary services for homeless veterans. The lease agreement stipulated that the Shelton Municipal Code needed to adopt language that allowed for single room occupancy, that those code amendments would fall within chapters 18, which is building and construction, and 20, which is zoning, specifically planned unit development within the zoning code. These requirements meet the intent of that lease. These are similar requirements to what Panza has instituted, and it has been adopted by the city of Ording for the similar veterans housing in that area. Within the updated ordinance, it adds language in section 118.02.110 that defines what a single room occupancy sleeping unit is, which is at least 120 square feet, access to sanitary facilities and full common kitchen facility, at least one flush toilet, lavatory, basin, and bathtub or shower must be supplied in each unit. The sanitary facilities must be in proper operating condition, obviously, and adequate for personal cleanliness, disposal of human waste. They must be hooked up to sanitary sewer per city code. Each sleeping unit must have 120 square feet of floor space and at least 4 square feet of closet space. Exterior doors and windows must be accessible from the outside and must be lockable. Residents must be able to access their sleeping unit, the sanitary facilities and kitchen facilities without passing through another sleeping unit. Kitchen and sanitary facilities must be located in a detached community building located on the same site as a sleeping unit. So this would have a community building where they access the kitchen and other facilities. In this case, they'd also have those the ancillary services that would be needed that PANS is going to provide. These would be only allowed within neighborhood residential zone and mixed use zones under a plan unit development application. Sleeping units shall not be used for transitional housing. So that's similar to any rental unit essentially, which you rent on a month-to-month basis. So that would be what would be considered here, is that essentially these would be month-to-month occupancies. Sleeping units shall either be owner occupied or shall provide a housing for a tenant pursuant to the lease agreement. And the following uses not considered single room occupancy include boarding houses, hotels and motels, extended stay hotels, assisted living facilities, convalescent nursing homes, facilities which provide short-term or long-term care for tenants suffering from physical, mental, or other disabilities. And again, you'll see that reference in SMC Shelton Municipal Code 20.32.110 that references Shelton Municipal Code 1802.110 under the plan unit development.
All right.
And council, if I may, I'd just like to add that this is intended to only apply to the tiny homes village. We will be looking at an additional code to facilitate ADU construction as part of the code updates that we talked about a little bit earlier.
All right. Do we need to ask for public comment, public testimony here?
I think that's appropriate, and we do need to wait the 30 seconds
Okay.
to make sure that people have an opportunity for the delay in the live stream.
Okay,
All right,
I'm
Donna?
timing this.
Okay.
I can't get a copy of the ordinance. I can't get to it. I didn't print it. Are you on mute?
Where'd Donna go?
Nowhere, nothing's wrong, everything's fine.
All right.
Should give her 10 more
Okay.
seconds.
Okay.
She was on her laptop and couldn't print the ordinance that she needs to read. So I printed it
Oh,
for
I
her
see.
real quick. There she is. All right.
All
Okay,
right.
Mr. Mayor.
All right. That's the first reading of the ordinance number 1949-0220.
Ordinance number 1949-0220, an ordinance of the City of Shelton, Washington relating to land use and zoning, adding a new section 18.02.110 to the Shelton Municipal Code and amending chapter 20.32.110 concerning single room occupancy developments.
All right, thank you, Donna. Council members have any questions or comments? If not, do we concur to place this item on July 21, 2020 action agenda?
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
agree? Okay. So we're going to close the public hearing and resume the regular meeting. The next item on the business agenda tonight is a resolution to update the master fee schedule. And we'll turn it over to City Manager Jeff Knighton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and members of the public. This is a companion piece to the public hearing that you just held. We do intend in the future to update the master fee schedule once per year, and we will likely do that at the end of January every year or early February to coincide with our budget preparation. So those kind of roll in cycles. We are doing this minor update tonight in order to implement the single room occupancy ordinance that you just heard. This update would allow developments conforming to the single room occupancy code to connect to our water and wastewater systems at a 25% rate compared to a typical single family home, because they are only single room occupancy, and that is approximately the amount of water that each unit would use compared to a typical single family home with a typical number of people in a residential unit. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Was that based on square footage?
I believe it's actually based on, it is based on square footage, but also based on the approval by L&I and by the Building Code Council for the number of people that can live in certain occupied space.
Okay. So like a 1-bedroom house would not qualify for this.
Correct.
Okay. That was it.
Okay.
All right, at this time, we should probably pause again for any public comment.
Okay, 30 seconds, Donna.
30 seconds, Donna.
Thirty seconds. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, it's 30 seconds.
All right, so staff recommends the council concur to move this item to the action agenda for July 21st meeting. Everybody good with that?
Concur.
Yes.
All right. We have another resolution to discuss. Police Chief Darren Moody has the detail. You ready, Chief?
Ready, Mayor. Mayor and council, I'm just bringing forward a briefing regarding the patrol vehicles and some fire vehicles that have exceeded their life expectation several times over, actually. And we'd like to surplus those vehicles according to our policies and the law in the state of Washington. There's 3 police vehicles, and I believe there's 3 fire vehicles. And all of them are valued at $5,000 or less. I'm happy to answer any questions you got about the cars. And I think Mike Patty was trying to get on, but I got an email that said he wasn't able to, but I hope I can answer if you got fire truck questions.
I heard there was a fire truck, and then where are they getting sold at?
Well, we had numerous discussions about that, and it was basically they will go to auction. In the past, it was kind of a hit and miss in the city on how they were sold. Jeff's trying to make a uniformity into that. And I agree with it that we shouldn't be selling cars. And so rather than us spend the time selling them, they will basically, my understanding, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, this will be turned over to finance. Finance will then work with an auction company and get rid of the vehicles.
Yeah, it's an auction company, and I didn't see Aaron pop back on. So yeah, it'll go to finance. So what we're going to use is a website called GovDeals. They deal with a lot of surplus vehicles from around the nation, and it's a much more efficient way for us to dispose of our surplus property in that way. And I've seen it work pretty well. There's other options too, but I think that's the first one we're going to go with.
Awesome. Who doesn't want to own a Shelton fire truck?
Right.
Do
All
the
right.
funds from the sale go back to the general fund, or do they go into the EM&R program?
Public safety.
So, so they will go into, I believe, the fire assets, which they have been used by Central Mason, will go back into the EM&R fund. The police vehicles, I believe, will go back into the general fund. But when we create an ER&R program, which we're in the process of doing, that will likely change, but that'll take a little while. We are working on that. Since public safety is the general fund, just saying.
Okay. Staff recommends the council concur to move this item to the action agenda for the 21st meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Oh, do we need to ask for public comment on this as well?
We can, Mr. Mayor. I think that would be appropriate for everything on our business agenda tonight.
Okay.
Okay, I'm timing us 30 seconds. It's time, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
All right. Now we'll go on to resolution for the Basin 3 final acceptance. City engineer Ken Gill is up. There's Ken. Hi, Ken. Turn your microphone on.
Good evening, council, and thank you for letting me present to you tonight. I'm going to share a screen with you, a presentation I put together for this project. Okay. So, let's see here. Let's do this. The whole goal of this project was to eliminate leaks in the system. And Brooke did a good job of describing and defining the definition of inflow and infiltration into this Basin 3. So, but basically it's leaky pipes and groundwater and connections and things that shouldn't be there. If you look at the big picture of our entire sewer system, and in the past decade, Shelton has invested millions in getting rid of leaks. And this is a graph. Ignore a lot of the dots and the lines, but just look at the last 10 years, and I'll forward it the next slide. So Brooke put together and I think did a good job of emphasizing this is the line kind of where we were in 2010. And this is the line where we're at now. So the whole goal of this is to flatten out that slope, right? So if you have a big rain event, you don't have a big surge down at the treatment plant down on Fairmont. This project area is kind of in the area inside the blue. The areas that got repaved and got new sewer pipes put in are shown in green. But really the heaviest impact was the historic downtown area. That's where I took a lot of the calls and questions and concerns. The total construction cost was just a little over $6.5 million. The project was really well managed and run. Cobry Schneidmiller, now Cobry Glasser, did the majority of the inspection. And we're also to fund the project, we used a combination of grants from ecology and direct appropriations that your staff obtained. And I can't take credit for that because it was here when I showed up. So a little bit before pictures and after, you can see before you had some sidewalks that were in roads that were crumbling, and now you've got some asphalt roads with some ADA ramps. Again, showing pictures of an asphalt road with a gravel shoulder, and now you've got an asphalt road with a sidewalk. Another picture before or after, real near the library. This is before, during, and after. So these are guys trenching and installing the foundation for the retaining wall that goes underneath Shelton Creek up by the diversion structure. Again, another picture of concrete roads with sidewalk shoulders and a complete asphalt road with sidewalks and curb and gutter. So another a picture on Birch, gravel shoulders. They had sidewalks, but a lot of gaps, a lot of bumps. A rough ride if you're a baby in a baby carriage. So, and then after pictures, of course, new sidewalks, new mailboxes, and they maintain the street parking. I like this slide the best because it really tells what the city got for their money. And the over 15,000 linear feet of new sewer main, just under 190 sewer laterals, just over 5,000 square yards of concrete for new sidewalk, curb, gutter, ADA ramps, and just under 5,000 tons of asphalt to repave new roads and parking strips. So this is my last slide, but the slide I want to roll back to is the one for the contingency, where council pay attention to that yellow slice. So that was the amount of funding that council allocated for any contingencies. And if you look in the back page of your council packet, about $36,000 of that is remaining. So that tells me that it was a really tightly, intensely managed project to stay within that contingency that council allotted for it. So that's all I prepared. Do you guys have any questions?
Did we have any liquidated damages from this project?
None that I'm aware of.
All right. Thank you, Ken. So now we pause for 30 seconds for public comment.
That's 30 seconds, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Staff recommends the council to concur, move this item to the action agenda for July 21st. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, Ken has another resolution. This one is for a contract amendment for the satellite wastewater treatment plant reclaim tank design.
I'm going to share a screen with another figure that we prepared. So the city of Shelton owns and operates a satellite water reclamation plant off of 101 up by the airport. And the big green dot there is the potential location of a reclaim tank. And before I showed up, Shelton was in the process of designing a reclaim tank so we could store our excess reclaimed water and have it available for irrigation or toilet use, things like that where you don't got to drink it. The Squaxin tribe obtained a grant to supply Goldsboro Creek with additional water during the summertime to benefit fish and all the critters that they eat. And they've asked us to add that additional scope into what we're already doing. So whenever you add scope to a consultant, they usually increase their fee. And the additional fee that is covered by the Squaxin tribe. So this is a study to look at this tank, how big it should be, where it should go. And once we have the results of this study, we can present it back to council. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, guys? All right, we're going to pause 30 seconds again for public comment. Hey, Ken, while we're pausing here, wasn't that tank also to collect reclaimed water for like hosing down the state patrol track when they wanted it?
You betcha. You could certainly use it for that too.
Yeah, okay.
It's 30 seconds, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
All right, staff recommends the council to concur to move this item to the action agenda for the 21st meeting. All in favor of that, I think. All right, the last resolution on the business agenda is for a contract amendment for the sewer comp plan. Ken is going to share details with us.
Thank you again, council. I'm going to continue sharing my screen, but I'm going to show you a different figure. And this is a figure of all of our sewer basins. But just pay attention to the ones inside the red and focus on that. And you see it's labeled the potential north diversion area. And Shelton's in the process of redoing our sewer comp plan. Gray and Osborne is doing that for us. And again, similar to the reclaim tank, the Squaxin tribe is really interested in providing more summertime stream flows to Goldsboro Creek. So this area outlined in red could potentially go to that satellite treatment plant. And the focus is on this, this WRP in green. So that's the same location of the green dot that I showed you in the previous slide. So this study, this portion of our comp plan will analyze whether or not the areas that are in red can go to the green dot or square that's shown on the map. So again, the Squaxin tribe has added this scope. GNOs increased their scope and their fee, and the Squaxin tribe is paying for this additional scope and fee that will be a part of our comp plan. So when we get these two things wrapped together, we'll come back to council and present the results and have that discussion when we're done. Do you have any questions?
All right. None? Okay. We're going to pause for 30 seconds once more.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's 30 seconds.
All right, thank you. All right, so staff recommends the council to concur to move this to the action agenda for the 21st meeting also.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the action agenda. The first item on the action agenda this evening is a resolution for WASDOT 6-year TIP. Ken, you're up again.
Okay. So council, I'm going to share my screen again with a different figure. And what you have in front of you is what was in your packet last meeting, and again in your packet tonight. But this is our 6-year tip, and nothing's changed from the last time I presented this to you. But as Brooke did a really good job detailing in your briefing, it's a requirement from the state for us to be able to go after grant funding, and it's a requirement that we do this annually with you to basically check in and make sure that we're going after the right projects that you want us to do. So there's no changes from last time. I recommend that you approve it.
All right. I'm gonna pause for 30 seconds once more. Well, more than once more.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, 30 seconds is up.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask for a reading of resolution number 1159-0620.
Resolution number 1159-0620. A resolution of the City of Shelton, Washington, adopting the comprehensive 6-year transportation improvement program for the City of Shelton for the years 2021 through 2026.
Okay. Council, do we have a motion?
I move to authorize the mayor to sign resolution number 1159-0620, adopting the 6-year transportation improvement program for the years 2021 to 2026.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments at this time? All right. We have a motion and a second to authorize me to sign resolution number 1159-0620, adopting the 6-year transportation improvement program for the years of 2020 through 2026. All in favor, say aye.
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 All
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're moving right along, guys. Ken has one more item to share with us, a resolution regarding a project change order for the MTA parking lot retrofit project.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to share one more screen with you. Scroll down a little bit, and then I'll come back to this a little bit later. But this is the MTA parking lot, and it is located right on Railroad Avenue, right behind United Way. And if you get a chance, it's just between Blondie's and CenturyLink. Go check it out. I was out there last week with Ecology and our contractor, and what's unique about this is they use pervious pavers. So they took a big couple 5-gallon buckets full of water, dumped them on, and the water disappeared. And so it's really a neat improvement for that area of town. And it's really a great project that recognizes how successful a project can be when you work with your friends. And in this case, our friends are the Department of Ecology and Danette Brandon with MTA. So she has been a really good, strong supporter and a great project manager for this project. So Railroad Avenue is called Railroad Avenue because it had railroad tracks running down the north side of it, as you all know. And this location where this parking lot is used to have railroad tracks running through it. And a residual of the railroad was some lead and some trace amounts of petroleum contamination. And Danette worked with Ecology and their consultant to determine if this dirt could stay or if it could go. And the end result is it needed to go with the project. And they are in the process of hauling it to an appropriate facility. And this is a change order is associated with the cost of doing that. The reason why I pulled up this agreement is at the very top, it's an intergovernmental agreement between us and Mason Transit. But the second paragraph from number 1 is that Mason Transit's available for all the costs. So including this change order, they were benefited from a grant that Shelton staff applied for just over $300,000 that paid for the majority of the project. But Mason Transit is also responsible for the cost, again, with this change order, our staff time, and the grant match as described in the interlocal agreement. So if you have any other questions, that's what I've prepared tonight.
Are you saying, Ken, that was all done with a grant? The removal?
The grant didn't cover the removal. No, the grant covered the concrete curb around the perimeter, covered the landscaping, the gravel backfill under the pervious pavers. It covered the construction. So, but the grant didn't cover the petroleum contaminated soil. That's all on Mason Transit.
That's on Mason Transit.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to pause for 30 more seconds for public comment.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Would you please give us a reading of resolution number 1165-0620?
Resolution number 1165-0620, a resolution of the Council of the City of Shelton, Washington, authorizing the city manager to approve change order number 1 to the construction contract with R.W. Scott Construction for the completion of the Mason Transit Authority parking lot retrofit project.
Okay. I'm Sue. Is there any more questions from the council? If not, do we have a motion? Oh, I should do that opposite. Do we have a motion? Sorry.
Sure. I move to adopt resolution 1165-0620, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign change order number 1 to the construction contract with R.W. Scott Construction for the Mason Transit Authority parking lot project.
Second.
Second? Did I hear a second?
Yes, second.
Thank you. All right. We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 1165-0620, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign change order number 1 to the construction contract with R.W. Scott Construction for the Mason Transit Authority parking lot project. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, along. Now, City Manager Jeff Knighton is going to speak to us about coronavirus relief funds for local government.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council and members of the public. What the contract that you have in front of you this evening is between the City of Shelton and the Washington State Department of Commerce. And that contract will allow us to request reimbursement funds provided by the federal government through the state. Initially, if you recall, the CARES Act approved by the federal government earlier this year, provided direct funding to states and to municipal governments with over 500,000 people. We're obviously a little short of that. But through the state, the Department of Commerce is releasing funding from the CARES Act to municipalities like ourselves, and we are eligible for $306,600. And signing this contract would give us the authority to request reimbursement from the Department of Commerce for those funds, as long as the reimbursement is completed by October 31st of this year. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. None? All right. So let's pause for 30 seconds for public comment.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's our last.
All right,
30.
Donna, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the interagency agreement with the Washington State Department of Commerce by authorizing the city manager to sign the attached.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the council? Okay. We have,
Kevin, if I may,
oh,
just one
Deidre
thing.
has something.
Just as we move forward with this, knowing that there's such a broad scope that these funds can cover different services and different items, I would be really interested to get a regular update from the city manager as part of our council meeting, so that we have an idea and the public has an idea of how these funds are being spent, because even though they're coming through commerce, they are taxpayer dollars after all. And I know that Jeff and staff have spent a lot of time looking at the best way to utilize those funds within the community. And I would love to hear back as we move forward on this project.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Deidre. Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the interagency agreement with the Washington Department of Commerce by authorizing the city manager to sign the attached agreement. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to administration. Oh, somebody? No? Move on to administration reports. Jeff, will you give us your city manager report?
I certainly will, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to start off with some terrific news. We were notified on yesterday, actually. We received a letter from the Department of Ecology that our grant request for the Oversight Remedial Action Grant for the C Street landfill has been approved.
Awesome.
So we're very happy to hear that. There are still several steps for us to take. And I would love to be able to tell you that it would cover the whole cost of the project, and we anticipate it will or come very close, but we won't actually know that until the bids come in. But we will provide you an update at that time. The other part of that was how hard our city engineer and our administrative manager, Brooke Kiltz, worked to make this happen and get this done in a timely manner. This went very well, I think, and we're very happy to get that letter yesterday to be able to share it with you tonight. So moving forward, again, a couple more steps. Department of Ecology has to create a couple documents for the public to comment on. So there will be further comment periods and opportunities for the public to weigh in. But this is a significant hurdle and we're very happy about it. Next, some not so good news. As you all know, we are meeting again on Zoom this evening, and that's because the Open Public Meetings Act, the OPMA proclamation that the governor issued was supposed to expire on July 1st, and it did, but it was extended early in the morning on the 2nd, July 2nd, for another week. It is supposed to expire again tonight at midnight, but we anticipate that will be extended further. Some slight good news, if we meet a whole long list of requirements, because we are a phase 3 county, we are able to meet in person if we meet those requirements. I'm not sure if we can meet each and every one of those, but I will be working with the folks here and talking with council during our briefings next week to see if we can meet those requirements, and council would prefer to meet in person rather than over Zoom calls like we are tonight. So progress slightly, we're getting there. We'll see what the extension the governor has either late tonight or early tomorrow morning to this current OPMA order. But I wanted to update you on that progress. I don't have anything else. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Congratulations on the C Street grant award. Great job.
Yeah, great job. Give kudos to, was it Colby or
Ken and Brooke.
Ken Brook? Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's always nice to get some good news now and again, especially in this time of COVID and all that. All right. So that brings us close to the end here. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, July 21st, 2020, 6 o'clock. This meeting is adjourned at 7:04.